Enter, rejoice, and come in. Whoever you are, whomever you love, whatever you call yourself, however you identify, you are seen here, you belong here. Enter with your full being, rejoice in who you are, for each one of you has been awesomely and wonderfully made. Good Sunday morning, beloved community. Welcome to Pride Month at UUCE. Hello, Zoom friends. And good morning to young ones sitting up front. Thank you for coming to church today and for sitting up here so that we can be a little closer. My name is Robin Sean Smolford. I am a tall white male with a big beard and long hair. I'm wearing a orange and black Hawaiian style shirt. And I'm glad to see you all. Unitarian Universalism has a long and proud history of LGBTQ+ advocacy and inclusion. Today we lift up stories from the past as well as the present. We celebrate the freedom of being true to ourselves, and we celebrate the transforming power of love. As Eugene lights the flaming chalice, symbol of our shared faith, I offer these words. Blessed are you who love broadly, deeply, without limits. Each of you carry unique gifts and a way of understanding the world that adds color to the world. You are healers and companions. You are wanderers and conjurers. Blessed are you whose identities go unseen, who are told your pronouns are too much, your love too complicated, your truth too full of contradiction. In a world full of people, it's hard to take courage, but your true colors are shining through, and true colors are beautiful.
Good Sunday morning, everyone. I am the Reverend Jen Youngsun Ryu. I use pronouns she and her, and I'm happy to see all of you today. I'm wearing a bright blue stole over some muted colors. And today, yes, we are celebrating Pride Month. Yes, we are celebrating, and there are things going on in your lives. There are sorrows that you're holding. There are personal celebrations and milestones that you want to share with one another. There are sadnesses and anniversaries that you want to mark. You can do that by writing in the book so that we can share that from the pulpit. Zoom friends, you can type it into the chat and I'll read those a little bit later. Or you can do it silently in our ritual of joys and sorrows, where you place a stone that has been held by many different hands into a bowl of water. We have 3 stations where you can do that. There's one over there by the sound booth, and there are 2 along the south wall. And so as you are moved, please enter this time of joys and sorrows, or just a silent reflection as you remain in your seats. For all of these expressions of joy and sorrow, of celebration and sadness, we are thankful. For whatever comes to us in this life is a gift of this life, and we shall receive it all. Amen. So it was Labor Day weekend in the year 1969. The Reverend Jim Stoll, a Unitarian Universalist minister serving the Kennewick congregation in Washington State, found himself both enraged and incredibly motivated and inspired after what he read about the Stonewall Uprising. That weekend, he was serving as the adult advisor to a Unitarian Universalist youth conference. Reverend Jim, for years and years and years, had been hiding his true identity from every person except for just a few friends. After Stonewall, he was convicted that he would not hide any longer, that he would not live this way any longer. And so during one of the evening worship services, Jim Stoll came out to those youth, becoming the, well, if not the first, one of the first openly gay ministers in America. That night, he said to the youth, "If this revolution that we're in means anything, it means that we have the right to be ourselves without shame, without fear." By the time of the 1970 General Assembly, about 9 months after that weekend, Jim had authored a social justice resolution advocating for homosexual civil rights. The youth, as they often have done, played an essential role in the passage of this resolution. This resolution made it clear that queer people are here, in the pews and behind the pulpit. It called on every UU congregation to end discrimination, advocate for legal protections for gay, lesbian, and bisexual people, and to initiate sexuality education that reflected the changing social patterns. The Unitarian Universalist Association became then the first religious organization and denomination to officially condemn discrimination against LGB people. There were only 3 alphabets at that time. Both within the church and in wider society. Throughout the 1970s and the 1980s, the UUA led sweeping changes. They published About Your Sexuality, a groundbreaking sexuality education program that described same-sex attraction and practice as valid and normal. They urged all UU organizations to help settle lesbian, gay, and bisexual ministers in congregations. They affirmed the practice of performing unions for same-sex couples, supporting ministers who had been doing this for years and years and years, just on the DL. By the late 1980s, the UUA launched the Welcoming Congregation program, which helped UUs undergo training and transformation to become more affirming of LGBTQ+ people. And as soon as this program was available, this church in Eugene took up that work and has been a welcoming congregation ever since. And then came the fight for marriage equality. The UUA supported same-sex marriage as early as 1996, and at the same time, they started expanding their advocacy for transgender rights and inclusion. There is so much to be proud of in our rainbow history. And of course, that's not the full story, and it's not the end of the story. Our seminarians and our denominational leaders have always been far ahead of where many people in the pews have been willing or able to go. Jim Stoll, the Reverend Jim Stoll, had every reason to fear the consequences of his coming out in 1969. He knew the risks because he had heard all the stories. Some of you may know Keith Cron. Keith Cron is the past director of the UUA's transition office, and he once shared that, oh yeah, every minister in the 1940s, the 1950s, and the 1960s known to be gay or lesbian was fired from their congregation. Keith said, I even heard of one congregation that fired its minister, but felt so bad, and as an act of compassion, rehired him as their custodian. Today, even after decades of faithful, intentional work, the roots of bigotry and intolerance and discrimination still live within our congregations, just as they live in our larger society. Even as we continue the journey toward anti-oppression and collective liberation, especially trans liberation, minority voices protest that UUs have lost their commitment to free speech and robust debate. But let us be very clear. A person's humanity is not a topic up for debate. The truth of someone's identity is not up for discussion. Who you are is not a point of contention, it is sacred. This morning, we have the privilege of hearing from 4 of our members: Ashanti, Marty, Tristan, and Jean. They will share reflections from their lives. Their stories are sacred. Their truths are gifts, and so let us receive them with open hearts.
Hello all, I'm Ashanti and I'm a little nervous and I'm going to be reading from my phone, so forgive that. So, hello, my name is Ashanti Lee and I'm a 55-year-old woman, married, parent and step-parent of 8 children with 1 daughter in spirit or heaven. My children range from ages 20 down to 6-year-old twins, all a mix of adopted and birthed. I'm a person whose father suggested at my young age of 20 that it may be a good idea for me to maybe explore the idea that I was gay, bi, queer. I found this to be true in my story. My father later became the president of Seattle PFLAG. For many years, in response to a dangerous homophobic situation, my previous partner and I made it through. He called the governor incensed and then became very proactively politically. He taught me to march. He taught me to show up. This year, for my birthday, which happens to be on June 14th, he is joining me here in town. It will be a full birthday celebration of becoming 56, and then, even though his feet hurt and walking is hard, we shall be marching together to fight for the generations to come. I am proud of my father. Ooh, little tear. I am a proud queer daughter, a proud mom of teens who identify as both queer and straight. Teens who also continue to empower my learning in expansive language, witnessing in all areas, including non-binary, gender fluid, neurodivergence, pronouns, queerness, and this new generation expanding new safe spaces with their language. Even as I am part of this community, my teens remind me I am still a mom and old in their eyes. I delight in their ability to correct me, even with the teenage heavy sigh, that I should probably already know these descriptions or language. I delight even in these very tough times we are going through, because they know this expansive vision, this language as a part of their generational world. Language I didn't have as a teen. And understanding that this now forever is now forever woven into the fabric of their future, no matter what. I rejoice in that. I am a newbie in the congregation this year. I am so grateful to have found a spiritual community that not only supports, but also celebrates, welcomes, and reaches out in kindness, love, and action with love and gratitude. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Marty, and I wrote this song just this spring. I haven't written songs in a long time. So I wrote this song as we were approaching Trans Day of Visibility, and I wanted to share it with you. And in fact, if you get used to the chorus the first time I sing it, join in and help me out with the chorus, all right? Let's see how it goes. When I was young, I sometimes felt alone, like there was something wrong with me. 'Cause everywhere I looked, I could find no one who mirrored my reality. I tried so hard to be like everyone said I was supposed to be. But in my heart, I couldn't play the part. It felt like a dishonesty. And then one day, I went astray and found that there were folks like me. They'd had to hide and keep their truth inside, hidden in obscurity. Here comes the chorus. But I need to see the true you, the person you were always meant to be. I want to call you by the name that resonates inside and sets you free. I want to celebrate you, so come on out and let me see you truly. I found my truth, but people that I knew tried to put my truth to shame. They held a fear of anything that's queer and tried to make me think the same. They swallowed lies designed to villainize the people I had come to know. But once you see how loving we can be, the falsehoods in those judgments show. Ready? And I need to see the true you, the person you were always meant to be. I want to call you by the name that resonates inside and sets you free. I want to celebrate you, so come on out and let me see you truly. Show me what your heart beats for. Share the dreams you're reaching for. We all need to see how true you can be to be free. The way to fight the hatred from the right is not to play their game. While they insist that we cannot exist, we only need to shine our flame. I call on you to find your truest true and let our truth be told. Let every youth who needs to see our truth have joy and beauty to behold. One more time. 'Cause I need to see the true you, the person you were always meant to be. I want to call you by the name that resonates inside and sets you free. I want to celebrate you, so come on out and let me see you truly. I want to see you truly.
As you know, the first Pride was a riot. A black trans woman daring to stand up in defiance, recognizing it was the time and the place to fight for queer rights. No hesitation. Without stipulation, the only limitations are on confusion and illusion, shaped by the constructs of the closets and the lines and the boxes that we've been kept in. But they do not define us, and we can loosen them. With persistence and resistance, pushing back against a system that has lied to us, try to redesign, reassign, and ostracize us, falsely convicting us as a means to lock us away, thinking. The anticipation of incarceration will keep us silent and compliant, and eventually would just fade out and go quietly away. But they don't know that the thing about queer people is we cannot be contained. When restrained, we duplicate and multiply, replicate and re-identify, strategize to become gayer and queerer and louder and stronger. When they come to take or indoctrinate us is when we throw the biggest, loudest, brightest, gayest celebrations, because we are not contagious, but our hope and our joy is, and that is the resistance fueling our liberation, and yours is also chained to us, so don't think our resilience is an excuse to recuse yourself from allyship, because in the current circumstance, we are overwhelmed and terrified, paralyzed, fearing for our lives, intertwined with the responsibility of visibility, keeping hope alive for the next generation. 4 years is forever to a trans child. Bringing heightened risk of suicide while also fighting off a genocide we will not concede to this fascist tide that is 100% intent on eradicating us, their hate. Filled with ignorance, we dissent. Unapologetic, embracing our identities, not acquiescing to authorities. So let it storm and rain, we'll dance and sing, protest and chant, dressed in our gayest attire. Protected by force fields of solidarity, the whole queer community sticks together. The connection, a reflection of our insistence on existence, and after the storm comes a rainbow. Colors so bright, pride illuminating, lighting the night. If they cage us, we will free us, still whole, hearts open to love who we love and be who we are meant to be. Will you also fight for us? Use your privilege to get rights for us, and when they come for us, stand in front of us, because they can't take all of us. But they can take a lot of us if bystanders don't defy it. But we will always come back intact, stronger, bolder, living older, reigniting, spreading like wildfire. We will never be smoldered. We are here, we are queer, and if you don't like it, expect a riot.
That's tough to follow. I'm Jean Devaney. I use the pronouns she and her. I have short gray hair and glasses. I'm wearing a gray t-shirt with a rainbow chalice and a rainbow scarf. I am 74 years old. I've identified as lesbian for more than half my life. I came of age in the hippie era of the 60s, when what was sold to us as free love meant open access to women's bodies. When you objected, you were labeled frigid or uptight. Yet it was the women at late-night Vietnam protest meetings that were still the ones who made and served the coffee. I entered adulthood in the 70s during the second wave of the feminist movement, when the labels feminist and lesbian were pejorative, used interchangeably to silence women. The women's movement did all it could to distance itself from lesbians, their rights, their identities. So the next thing to do in an adult woman's life at that time was to marry a man. So I did, twice. The second marriage resulted in a child who turned out to be an amazing human, who actually was this congregation's DRE for 10 years. Oof. With that child came the 80s, and the liberal feminist idea that women could, and I quote from an ad campaign here, "Bring home the bacon, fry it up in a pan, and never, never let him forget he's a man." I, on the other hand, was now a divorced single mom struggling to raise a toddler alone while working full-time. I was bringing home the bacon and frying it up in a pan and then trying to get enough sleep. Then came graduate school and women's studies and a counseling degree and my first true love. I saw her when I walked into the Intro to Counseling classroom. Flop-topped, cropped mullet, pale yellow polo shirt tucked into those tan pleated trousers. Gorgeous blue eyes, the longest eyelashes. I made a beeline. She was kind and funny and smart, and we both ended up smitten. My identity intersections came into clear focus. I was female, divorced, a single mom, a feminist, and a lesbian. When I told my mom, she said, "What did I do wrong?" "Mom, I'm not a child abuser, an embezzler in prison because I'm a danger. I simply love another person." She eventually came around. And we had other intersections that supported our years together. We were both white in this white supremacist culture, had a safety net of family and friends, and were well-educated and had jobs. But I do remember the shock of the first time we experienced homophobia. At the Saturday market in Portland, laughing, standing close to each other, I heard a woman behind us say, "Ew." And her woman friend responded, "At least we don't have to be with them." We went silent. We looked at the ground, pretended we didn't hear. But now, what I would do is turn, look directly at them, and say, "You should be so lucky."
Thank you so much, Ashanti and Marty. Jean, thank you. Tristan, thank you so much. Your songs, your poetry, your stories are a living testimony that truth is stronger than fear, that love is greater than shame, and liberation is something that we build together. There is so much to be proud of today, and yet, as someone once said, pride without action becomes nostalgia. It's not enough, actually, for us to fly the pride flag. This flag must transform our hearts. There is a danger in being affirming and welcoming and yet unexamined. A danger in being proud of how far we have come while quietly resisting the next transformation. This spring, Ryan led a workshop series on resisting the anti-trans movement, and only a few of us attended. Later this year, she's going to make another invitation to us all. She's going to invite us to read Authentic Selves, a book that celebrates trans and non-binary people and their families. It's this year's common read. It's the commitment that we have made together with the entire UUA community to last year's GA resolution of embracing transgender, non-binary, intersex, and gender diverse people as a fundamental expression of our UU faith. Now, even if you think that you know everything there is to know about LGBTQ+ issues, I encourage you to take part in this common read, because really, we don't know what we don't know, right? Queer theology shows us how love ruptures systems of control. It invites the church not only to be a refuge, but a force of liberation. And that means that we have to go way beyond inclusion and welcome and acceptance. Because as important as those values are, they are a pretty low bar, aren't they? And they don't, by themselves, dismantle the supremacy culture that we live in everywhere, including in the church. We really have to start facing questions like, how do we redistribute power around here? Who gets to lead? Who gets to speak? Who makes decisions? Who gets to shape our theology? Within Unitarian Universalism, we are weaving queer theologies into those that we have inherited from our religious ancestors. And in doing so, we can imagine a future for our faith that pushes us toward more authenticity and more fluidity, toward understanding beyond any binary structures. It pushes us toward the courage to live truthfully and the refusal to be anything less than whole. Today's mini march may seem very trivial and small to those of you who have been to lots and lots of protests and marches. But you know what? For someone in this room today, this may be the very first time that they've ever held up a sign in public to declare who they are. And so let our pride not be only in what we have done in the past, but in what we are becoming together. May that be ever so. Amen.
In a few minutes, we're going outside to have a mini march, a honk and wave. Rev Jen will give closing words, then Joe is going to lead us in song as we go out through these doors behind me. We have extra signs out there for you. And Zoom friends, we want you to come with us. Steve Kuzma will broadcast the mini march with his phone. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, warmth of commitment, or the fire of humanity. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
This joy that I have, the world didn't give it to me. This joy that